Hi guys, welcome to the JW Untold Truth channel. Have you heard of the breaking news regarding the Jehovah Witnesses in Spain? I'm sure you have, but just in case, here it is. So, Jehovah Witnesses have victims around the world. We know that it's a fact. We have Jehovah Witnesses victims of rape. We also know that they have Jehovah Witnesses victims of mistreatment within the organization. We also know that they have victims of abuse in relationships with another Jehovah Witnesses in the organization, and they were mistreated by the partners as well. But for a organization to go after these victims is so low. I mean, fair enough if an organization goes after someone who has stole money from the organization, or if someone has done something wrong towards this organization that is not fair enough. But these are victims of sexual assault, for being mistreated in this organization, for being lied by this organization as well. So they are victims for whatever reasons. For a religious organization to go after these victims that have already suffered for so many years, and now they have managed to find a group where they can find some relief and some understanding, which is why this group was formed, for the victims of the Jehovah Witnesses. And for the Jehovah Witnesses in Spain to come and sue and go after this association of victims is so low. I mean, it's pretty much saying that Jehovah organization is going after his own victims, that God himself doesn't want these victims to come forward at all. This is just as low as it gets for a religious organization. Well, guess what now? Now that the Jehovah Witnesses in Spain have gone after their own victims in Spain, the Mexican Jehovah Witnesses victims have established an association as well. Now this one is called the Mexican Association of Jehovah Witnesses Victims. Now we're going to have to wait and see if the Jehovah Witnesses in Mexico are going after these victims as well. This is just gone out and blown away. This is just amazing how things are developing now. So we have the Spain victims being sued. Now the Mexican victims are establishing their own association, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens next. So let's stay tuned and see what develops next. So what I've done now is that there was a news article, there was a news report in Spain regarding this issue that has blown away hugely. This channel called the Alta Voz, which is translated to the loudest voice, which is one of the most popular channel in Spain, brought up this report, and I've actually translated to English, and I've dubbed it as well, so everyone can just listen to it. Well, I hope you like this video, and please subscribe to get the latest from the Jehovah Witnesses.
The Jehovah's Witnesses under suspicion. First time in the history of Spain that a religious confession leads to a trial. A group of former members. Mark?
Yes, actually, let's see who they are. So far, family, friends, and couples of Jehovah Witnesses, now the enemies. In 2019, an association was formed called Victims of the Jehovah Witnesses. They are people who have abandoned their religion and seek to support a group together, but also publicly denounce the Jehovah Witnesses behavior like this, who we are now going to see coercive practices ranging from emotional pressure of the faithful, missing the right to honor their dignity and privacy, and even to defend a truth that violates the rights of the women and the rest of the group's sexual diversity. But there are accusations that are more serious in the Jehovah Witnesses, and they are not welcome here. Nor we tolerate people who hide cases of minor sexual abuse cases. There are many victims now. We will hear that they denounce having suffered repeated sexual abuse within the organization without having received any help at all. Instead, they have been confronted and found with what they call social death. They said this religion has completely removed everyone from the surroundings. Let's have a look at this testimony of this person who are now we are going to see. Oh, she says, I haven't seen my mother. She is 83 years old and have been at least 10 years that I haven't seen her. They don't leave her alone. I feel like they have kidnapped her. Well, next Tuesday they will have to prove in the courts of Torrejón de Ardoz in Madrid that everything that they said is true, because they face a complaint for intrusion to honor. The Jehovah Witnesses demand the judge to prohibit them from using the name the victims of Jehovah Witnesses, that they want to be compensated as well for these comments that we just heard. Elena Golas Arias is precisely with some of these victims. Tell us, please.
Well, if they are telling us how to live within this organization because they were born precisely in this organization, they do not know anything else, and they talk about high control. Patricia knows it well because she was in this organization for 25 years until they excommunicated. You know what happened? Well then, I grew up with a thought to follow the rigid rules of the organization. So at one point in my life, well, I was dating a person. My partner, since all kinds of physical contact are prohibited because it is a sin in the eyes of God. Well, I had some expression of affection with the person. I didn't even get to have sex, but they put me on trial for internal morality, which is what they usually do. And well, they sentenced me to shunning because they judge you and because you are a woman. Well, you can't doubt, no. In other words, you have to comply with everyone or get into the rules, and like me, I didn't comply with what that was expected of me. Then I felt very bad and I tried to commit suicide a few days before the trial. I knew I was going to lose my family, so well, they asked a lot of questions. That was unfair, sexist trial. They undermined my self-esteem. They made me feel that I was not obedient or submissive. This sentence was the total expulsion of the organization and therefore the loss of all contact with your family, with all your relatives. Would you say that is correct? Yes, that's why I tried to commit suicide, because I knew that I was going to lose everything. Then it is a high control. You don't love yourself. You think you are not capable of fulfilling with all the regulations and you fail God. So then I lost everything, and well, it took me many years to recover. This self-esteem, in valuing myself as a person, in knowing what to do with my life, not because... Do you have contact with your family on a daily basis? Today, nothing with my sisters. With my parents, well, from time to time. They call to see if I'm okay, but very little, or practically I have no support, family or social. All this suffering has given me a psychosomatic disorder, such as the fibromyalgia. Today, I have a disability of 40% and I have no social or family support. That is, because all your environment continues within this organization? Exactly. I lost all my friends since I was a child.
Elena?
And family. Lots of family inside. So I'm raising a daughter alone. I'm a single mother and I have no support, so they have harmed me too economically because they do not allow a study to a career. So I didn't prepare and have worked in jobs very poorly paid. And well, it has made me incapable to work as well. So I live with very little money, that is. Yes, Mark?
We are following you with lots of attention to this story, that the truth is that we are getting goosebumps also to hear that she has attempted to take her life, completely cut off from her family. You said she told you that she has no type of contact with her family. I wanted to ask her now that she is announcing this situation on this program that has a huge Spanish audience and that watches this show. I was wanting to know that if her family was watching this program, what are they thinking? What do you think?
Well, that's a very interesting question because we have been talking about this topic. Mark asked if your family will be watching this, but you already know the answer, isn't it? Well, I do not believe they will, as they control all the access to information. Everything that is against the organization or their leaders have been it's prohibited that can lead to be kicked out. So those who brings to light everything they hide, well, they call us apostates. Then yes, if they watch these programs or if they listen to what I have to say of these accounts, they could be expelled. So there is a constraint there, and there isn't free access to information. So I don't think they are watching this program. I haven't told them anything because I don't want them to be more against me. I try to, well, I don't know. I'm suffering a lot because I need my family. Thank you very much for this witness, Patricia, and also for the one from Israel. Counting, and well, now they are attaching precisely to denounce publicly many years of suffering within the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Well, our hearts break, Elena, and it's also difficult to understand even on your plea that I need my family so privately on a television show, and that your family for so many years hasn't spoken to you directly. Thank you, Elena, and thanks above all to these two people, especially Patricia, for opening up this way in a TV show. You know, speaking clearly, we want to know all the versions. We wanted to contact, of course, the official version of these testimonials from the Jehovah Witnesses spokesman. In Spain, Juan Pablo Carabias, what do we know? Well, yes, Mark, has been terrible, this testimony, but we also, we are going to see the other side. We wanted to spin the coin and get Jehovah's Witnesses' opinion. They have told us that they did not want to participate in this show. That they have sent us an email of 2 pages that I have here explaining basically their reasons. They say that they are a Spanish organization with 120,000 followers, and that Jehovah's Witnesses are not the defendants in this trial, but are the plaintiff, accusing these victims of spreading lies. They say that they are undermining this organization of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they also are all they're saying that they are based on personal experiences and not on data or more objective experiences, is what they are telling us from the Jehovah's Witnesses organization.
Well, those are the 2 versions. Let's talk to Jesus Bastante, editor-in-chief of the Digital Religion. Good afternoon. Well, we are counting that this is the first time in the history of Spain that a religious confession bears a trial to a group of former members for denouncing facts as great as we are listening. What do you suppose these facts mean?
Well, the facts are surprising, but yes, it is true that in such an institution so closed as you have been able to verify that are Jehovah's Witnesses who have not wanted to appear on this show and to give their version indirect can be the traces of obscurantism, and are evidence that in all groups, all religious groups who do not promote transparency nor its inclusion as prominent institutions within a society, and that is what is happening in this case. It doesn't seem strange to me that because all these types of institutions are not, you can call them a sect, because it is true that they are collected and protected by the Spanish legislation. In fact, there are 9 religions that are considered deeply rooted in Spain, with which they could even have agreements with the Spanish state level of the such as Muslims or the evangelicals as well. But yes, it is striking that we do not know nothing of the environment of this organization, and that there is a layer of darkness that will be appropriate, that we will clarify regardless of this case.
We are listening on today's show, heartbreaking testimonies speak of manipulative sexual abuse recruitment techniques. Of course they are. Jesus, these accusations are very serious?
Yes, they are very serious, and I understand that the organization, if you think they are lies, well, it does well to ensure that they good reputation by denouncing it. But as it happens in many other institutions, when talking about people who have been abused, harassed, they are almost always victims, regardless that the perpetrator's intention was to cause pain to the victims or not. Victims always deserve respect, and no matter what the situations is, the principle is that they are victims suffering. Well, it seems to me the most appropriate position, and even less in the case of a religious institution, regardless of the judicial reason, is that the victims are always victims.
Thanks for talking to us.
Of course, my pleasure.
Well, Jesus Bastante, about the case of the Jehovah's Witnesses, weighed in on what we are talking about a few minutes ago, on that obscurantism that surrounds this congregation and the severity from the cases that they are denouncing. They are denouncing the witnesses. We are talking about one, as you said before, is an unprecedented case because it is the organization itself, the one that accuses its opponents. And I understand that if they go to trial, it's unprecedented in Spain because they have, I don't know, a reliable evidence or the certainty of that other party, the association of the victims, do not have mounting evidence. So that the organization that is the how bright it comes out guilty in this process, not me, I think we're here before, I don't know, it reminds me a lot of the movie Regression of Amenabar. We will see how it's true and how much false in this black legend that has always flown over, like Fatima, the witnesses of Jehovah. But one thing is that the facts have occurred and this injustice is the important thing. And another thing is that what it can demonstrate, and I have my doubts. It seems to me heartbreaking testimony that this single mother that misses her parents and that one pseudo-religious organization, not the one she has kidnapped, that is when to use someone prevents you from contacting your loved ones, not a good organization by definition. I'm not practicing, I am not Catholic, but I have relatives who are, and never in an institution that also has their errors and their black things that we have spoken on other occasions, have never forbidden to interact with people who do not agree with the clear creed by. Therefore, it seems to me there is a point that separates a healthy religion that can help people from a sect or an organization that wants them to remove the word victim of their name and ask them for compensation. This has never happened in history of Spain. We'll see what can be shown or what cannot be proven, but here the one who accuses is the organization that I do not take away for a period or a comma of their dark side, that they let it people relations with others and they do not even let to go to court because they solve it amongst themselves. And how they always put the woman in a second place, of course, because it is the shadow of the men in that organization. But I insist that the reality is the organization that sends the victims to the courts. That I would surely say, if it was that way around, where the victims take the organization to the courts, another different procedure, and by other different courts, those who wanted fine organizations by manipulation of older people due to intrusion by everything they denounced if they were the victims. Maybe even the sentence could be different. Even the options of demonstrating or shedding light on certain facts, which of course are criminal or appear presumably criminal, it would be different.
In which we draw attention to the principle is that there is this act from this organization itself that makes victims to prove the accusations, and hopefully everything can be demonstrated. But they have said that this organization requires this association to not use the word victim. Hey, who feels like a victim has the right to feel like a victim. And another thing is that accuse a victim of something specific is a crime. And we will see what we can find for the next one too. Thank you so much for watching and for liking this video.